We're gonna. Are we good? Are we good? Oh, apologies. I think we were having some slight mic issues there, but hopefully you can hear us loud and clear now. So let's start that one from the top and welcome to Orient Live. We've got another away fixture for you this afternoon as the O's look to continue their fine form and hunt down that playoff pack, which contains today's opposition. It's Barnsley FC. And I'm also delighted to be joined in the studio by ex-Orient defender Glenn Wilkie and journalist Andrew Butler. Glenn, a tough one today. A big club. We were looking at some of the images coming through from the stadium. It looks like a big occasion. And considering our form and what we want to achieve, it feels like a big occasion too.
It is. It's a big test. Ex-Premiership club or Premier League club. Big stadium, big following, good side who are in the playoff places at the moment. Top goal scorer in the league in their team. It's going to be a difficult one today. But nothing scares us. We've recently gone away to Portsmouth. Top of the league, beat them 3-0. In a really good run of form, we're scoring goals, we're keeping clean sheets. I'm positive about today. And
I know we kind of quashed any playoff talk on Tuesday, but if you're looking at the table, these are the games where if you can, it's not a 6-pointer, of course, no. But it does feel like it gets you closer in that direction, doesn't it? Around those teams where that's probably more the direction we're looking to than below us.
Yeah, it's a kind of a great position to be in actually, because what we've shown, as Glenn alluded to, is that we've been able to beat kind of the so-called bigger teams in the league, the teams that are up the higher end of the table, but also mix that in with wins against Carlisle, obviously a draw against Reading, and now this is a really, really big test. I think the Portsmouth game will have given us great kind of encouragement coming into a game like this, but that was quite unexpected at the time. Now
Well, apologies. I hope we've got all those gremlins in the system sorted out now and you're receiving us loud and clear again. Let's crack on because we haven't got long to go now. until kick-off. So let's take a look at the starting lineup for the O's. A couple of changes today as Brandon Cooper and Theo Archibald drop out, with Brandon Cooper on the bench and Theo missing out on the squad completely. But back in goal is Sol Bryn. Across the back four, we have Ethan Galbraith at right back, Tom James at left back, and then in the middle is Dan Happy alongside the captain for today, Omar Beckles. In the midfield is Jordan Brown alongside Tuesday night's match winner Idris El Mazouni, and then in the number 10 role it's George Moncur. And the three attackers today is Shaq Ford, Ollie O'Neill and Ruel Sotirio. And on the bench for the O's is Sam Howes, Joe Piggott, Brandon Cooper, Darren Prattley, Dan Adu-Ajay, Rob Hunt and Gaughan Edwards. And it's an interesting one. It feels like ages ago that we were discussing it, but I think Richie's trying to remain consistent. He's obviously been forced into that change, including Theo Arch, was obviously a massive miss. And bringing back an Omar speaks for itself, really, I guess. Yeah,
I think Cooper will be a bit upset. He's not played or started today. Obviously, after Tuesday night, clean sheet, did okay, but skipper's come back in today. Omar was great from them runner games when we were keeping clean sheets. So him and Dan Happy back in the centre, in the heart of the defence, will be good. The one which is upsetting is Theo not playing. We know we spoke about him last Saturday. What he sort of gives to the team with his goals, his assists, his running, his energy. Just he's an all-round sort of performance week in, week out. So he'd be a big loss today. But it'll be interesting to see how O'Neill starts, because he's quite exciting as well.
It is obviously a massive miss not having Theo Archibald in the side. Shaq Ford and Rose Tiriou have stepped up in recent weeks. They've been in and amongst the goals, and as Glenn says, a good chance to get a proper look at Ollie O'Neill.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to that. As Glenn mentioned, massive miss to not have Theo Archibald. I think, he's been one of the best players, if not the best player for us this season, in my opinion, because of what he brings to the team. But an opportunity, and I guess this is kind of why you make these kind of moves in the January transfer window. I think you kind of look at our squad before January and you go, all right, Aji's fit, Shaq Ford's playing out on the wing a little bit, Theo's fit, he's doing incredibly well, but then bringing in a player like Ollie O'Neill, you're like, oh, how much time is he going to get? And it looks like, well, he's obviously going to be starting today, but he'll get a few more games, certainly at least as well. He's looked sharp when he's come off the bench in the last couple of games, but this is a real test. This is a really, really difficult game to kind of make your full debut for the club, especially as such a young man. But I guess there's probably an element of fearlessness to that as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he operates. I think we might lose something perhaps with him not being like a left-footed player, because Theo loves to hug that touchline and come infield and causes all sorts of problems for defenders. But let's see how Ollie gets on this afternoon.
Another player who's stepped up in recent games as well, and considering he hasn't played much football, George Moncur is showing what he can bring to this starting 11. He's been great the last couple of games, and now with Theo out, he's going to be someone that we look to for moments of magic.
Yeah, and he's a real confidence player, isn't he? Last Saturday, superb here at home against Carlisle. Tuesday night, done really well, and for the goal as well. When he's got the ball in the middle of the park, I think there's three Paul Val players around him, and he's just so strong, shrugging them off, holding them off. Turns one way, goes the other, and then passes the ball out wide, and then the goal comes from there. Really stepped up, and I'm pleased for him because he has had a tough time with injuries in and out the side, but we know he's got quality, and when his confidence is high and he's playing well, he's like a new signing as well. We spoke about new signings. Him coming into the form he's in now is a real bonus for the team and for the squad.
It's a real test for him, I think, this afternoon, because the way that Barnsley set up, they kind of play the 3 or 5 at the back, like 5-3-2, and Phillips, Connell and Herbie Kane in that midfield three might stifle George Moncur, but a real test for him this afternoon. But we'll see. Hopefully, he kind of will have one of those games where he's unplayable.
We're going to highlight Ethan Galbraith here now as well, and while we're talking about players who can get on the ball and get involved, as we're going to see here, he does this from right back, and it's really impressive what he's able to do.
Yeah, that ball over the top, which leads to Shaq Ford's goal against Carlisle last Saturday, was fantastic. I think the way he sees the game is really, really important. We'll see this one as a right back. You don't see many players do this, but really intelligent bit of play, not just from Ethan, but from Theo coming in field and allowing El Mazzuni to go on the left-hand side. His defensive work's obviously all there as well. We spoke a little bit about him on Tuesday about coming to the team coming to the club probably as a centre midfield, but playing right back really does offer something different. That long ball out of the field, it was a system that we played a little bit against Port Vale when it wasn't quite going our way. We played a little bit like that actually against Carlisle last Saturday too. Excellent runner with the ball, sees a pass, very, very confident, and his technical abilities there for all to see. So he's been a kind of, I want to say a revelation at right back. I think that might be a bit too strong because it's clearly that, you know, Richie and the coaching staff have seen enough of him to suggest that actually he's got a lot in his locker.
And he looks like a player that wants to get up and he wants to get in those positions in and around the box. He doesn't want to get stuck in the fullback position, does he?
No, he doesn't, but he's done so well there. Like Andrew was saying, that some of the clips where he comes inside with the ball, traditionally fullbacks ain't going to do that because they're not comfortable doing that and they don't travel with the ball as well as other players. But he comes in because he's a midfielder, he's confident. And what that does, that gives the opposition winger or whoever's over that side a big problem is, do I go with him? If I do, I'm behind him and you're pulling opposition players around. If I don't, he's got the free run, which he did when he got the ball out to Theo there. The only problem with that is if we lose the ball and we get caught out and the winger doesn't track him, there's a space over there. So it'd be interesting to see if he does that today, who fills in that gap behind him, if anyone at all. So that's the only negative with what he does, but he's not giving the ball away yet, so it's not a negative.
I think that's it's an interesting point because the way that Barnsley play with the two wing backs, Nicky Cadden at left wing back, who's sixth most crosses in League One this season, but that's kind of the way that they operate, getting wide. So just need to be careful about not getting caught out in possession in those wide areas.
Well, that brings us very nicely on to today's home opposition. There's just 5 minutes to go until kick-off. And of course, don't forget, if you're watching along live on our YouTube stream, then today, if you're a UK fan, you can listen along with an audio pass, and international fans, you can pick up a streaming pass to watch along with us here on Orient Live. But now let's take a look at Barnsley and how they're shaping up as they try to beat the most informed team in the league. In goal for Barnsley is Liam Roberts. Number 2 in the captain, Jordan Williams. 6, Mael Givney. Number 7, Nicky Cadden. Number 8, Herbie Kane. 17, Barry Cotter. Number 30, Adam Phillips. 43, Josh Earl. 44, Devante Cole. 45, John McAtee. And 48, Luca Connell. And on the bench for Barnsley is Killick, Pines, O'Keefe, Russell, Grant, Cosgrove and Marsh. Now we're going to have to look at this quite quickly, but we're going to look at Devante Cole. He's their danger man. We're going to look at some of their goals, not just his, but he's the one, isn't he, that you want to stop him scoring today?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. He's a big, strong lad. He's, like we mentioned earlier, top goal scorer in the league. The thing with looking at these clips, he scores goals, he's a poacher, he's big, he's strong. A lot of the stuff come from crosses, which we've got to be really aware of today, especially Dan Appy and Beckles, whoever's going to sort of be picking him up. He sort of drifts off players, he always sort of finds a space, he's competing in the air there and winning balls. But then he's got the sort of, I forgot what the word was then, but he literally follows everything up. He doesn't think, oh, my shot's not gone in. On that previous one, his shot, it's come off the post. He's got the sort of speed to then react to it. But he's a big test today for our centre halves marking him. They've just got to be concentrating at all times, especially when the ball's out wide. They've got to be literally checking their shoulders all the time because he'll pull off and try and pull them out of position and then attack the space that he's left.
And obviously Dan Happy, and you imagine that's probably why Owen Beckles was brought back in, an experienced defender who can defend against a team like Barnsley. But we've also just got to give a very quick mention to Idris El Mazzuni. He was phenomenal wearing the armband on Tuesday night, and he'll be key again today, getting in there, breaking things up and stopping Barnsley from getting into their flow. Yeah,
he was sensational, and he will be key, as you mentioned. I think the way that Barnsley do kind of line up, there's they'll cause us problems all over the pitch, whether or not that's going to be down the wide areas or over, flooding us in the midfield. But it's up to us to counter that. And Jordan Brown and Idris El Mazzuni have just been so good in recent weeks of calming the tempo down when it needs to be calmed down, and then just increasing it and stepping up when needed. They've been brilliant. But it's going to be a good game, I think.
We've got nothing to fear.
Well,
nothing to fear.
I'm glad you're so calm and confident, Glenn. Right, apologies for the technical issues in this pre-match show. Hopefully we've got it all sorted and the match will be streamed nice and smoothly for you, and it's about to kick off. So let's hand over to Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.
Good afternoon and welcome to Oakwell. Great atmosphere for what should be a fascinating game between two informed sides. Leyton Orient looking to extend their unbeaten run, and it's one defeat in 13 for Neil Collins' side. And I think, Matt, we have to start by saying congratulations to Super Richie Wellens on his award, January Manager of the Month, and it's fully deserved.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I'm just hoping that doesn't come back to haunt the O's today, Dave, because I'm always a little bit cynical about these things. The Manager of the Month award does not normally end well in the next following game, but let's hope and prove wrong, and Richie Wellens' side can keep this magnificent run going. Today will be an absolutely massive test. Make no mistake about it, Port Vale on Tuesday was a comfortable evening. This will not be the same.
It's the third and final of the three-match touchline ban that Richie faces, and he's sitting alongside Nigel Travis today.
Yeah, I can see him making his way into the director's box, not sat directly next to the chairman, sat next to Martin Ling in the row behind, but as you say, the chairman here watching on this afternoon, and there is the Orient manager sat behind him.
Two changes for the O's. Omar Beckles back after that slight injury problem. He replaces Cooper, who drops to the bench. But there is no Theo Archibald, who picks up a knee injury in Tuesday night's victory over Port Vale, of course. And Ollie O'Neill makes his first start.
Yeah, the intel I have on Archibald is that it's not a severe injury, but of course it rules him out this afternoon. Ollie O'Neill comes straight into the side, and the other change for the O's, Brandon Cooper drops to the bench. Omar Beckles comes back in.
A remote control car took the match ball to the centre circle. It's one that your young Austin's got as well, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Saw it in the World Cup, didn't we? As you say, an electric car taking the ball to the centre spot. Slightly unusual for League One football, but it's done the job.
And